Biggest country in the world today? We all know it's Russia. But if we roll back the clock 100 years to 1922, Russia wasn't even close to it. That title belonged to the British Empire. Imagine this. Almost a quarter of the planet was ruled from London. The British Empire stretched across all 6 continents, even reaching Antarctica. Back then, the British Crown controlled a massive 458 million people. That's 25% of everyone alive on Earth. But how did they achieve so much? And how did they lose it all? And most importantly, what's life like for Britain today, now that its empire is gone? Let's go back in history for a bit. Our journey starts way back around 900,000 to 1 million years ago. DNA research shows that even that far back early humans were already walking around in Britain. Interestingly, the oldest human footprints in all of Europe were found in the English village of Happisburgh. Back then, Britain wasn't even an island yet. It was connected to the mainland by a land bridge that scientists call Doggerland. Around 8,000 years ago, this land split off from Europe, turning into the island we know today. So, what did people look like at that time? Here is the surprise. DNA from Cheddar Man, who lived around the time Britain became an island, reveals he had dark skin, curly hair, and blue eyes. Interestingly, only about 11% of people in Britain today share his DNA. In fact, just 21% of the current population have family roots from the very first people who lived there, while 51% are from those who arrived after Britain became an island. In other interesting news, from around 3000 BC, these folks managed to build Stonehenge. But how they did it without a crane, no idea. So how did the British Empire become so big? I could tell you about their non-stop carnival of battles for power, but even historians get tired of detailing the endless conflicts between England and France. So I'll leave that for the history books. Let's jump in 1485, when Henry VII took the English throne as a member of the Lancaster family. From this moment, England began its transformation into a modern nation. Henry funded an expedition to America, leading to the discovery of Newfoundland, which laid the groundwork for future British interest in North America. Life in Britain hit a high point under Elizabeth I. She took the throne in 1558 and ruled for 45 years, a time now known as England's Golden Age. Everything Elizabeth touched seemed to succeed, something like a local Elon Musk, but a woman. The first British colony, Jamestown, Virginia, was founded in 1607 during the reign of her successor, King James I, after whom Jamestown was named. Well, I guess he didn't have ChatGPT at that time. After that, every few years, they were colonizing somewhere new. Bermuda, Barbados, Jamaica, and even New York. But the first big colony, however, was India. Then came Australia, Canada, South Africa, New Zealand, and Hong Kong, which, by the way, was the last significant colony that Britain decolonized in 1997. So, how did Great Britain, once the world's top military, tech, and financial power, end up moving to the sidelines? The short answer, 2 world wars. In World War I, Britain may not have suffered as much as Germany, Russia, or Austria-Hungary, and it even managed to hold on to its empire while other empires collapsed. But if you dig deeper, you see the war cost Britain around £30 billion, which today would be like $1 trillion, basically the country's entire yearly budget. Back then, Britain wasn't just looking after the islands. It was also funding colonies scattered all over the world, which became seriously expensive. Why? At first, every country had mobilized huge armies, so military costs went through the roof. Second, the old world order had crumbled. Former allies like Russia were now enemies, and Britain had to pour even more money into defense to protect its global business from the growing threat of communism. And let's remember that Britain was defending some of the world's largest territories. Third, with population growth booming globally, there was more need for food. Then new ways to travel, like airplanes and trains, were connecting people everywhere. Folks began moving more than ever, searching for better lives, and all of this put a strain on the British Empire. They started borrowing more and more money to keep up. Then World War II hit, dealing the final blow. This time, air power took center stage, and German bombers targeted London and other cities, leading to the loss of around 60,000 civilian lives and another £20 billion in war expenses. It was the nail in the empire's economic coffin. Through the Lend-Lease Act, Britain handed over its military bases in the Western Hemisphere to the United States, giving America control of the North Atlantic. Remember when Britain ruled the seas? Well, now there was a new ruler. After the war, life changed fast. The divorce rate in Britain spiked to 10 times the pre-war rate, and over 50,000 British women married American soldiers. It was clear who the new leader of the world was. Britain, however, tried to keep up appearances. In 1952, it launched the world's first jet airliner, tested a nuclear bomb, and a British-led expedition was the first to conquer Everest. Queen Elizabeth II worked hard to bring former colonies together under the Commonwealth, a reimagined family of nations. But the world had new leaders now. While London remained Europe's biggest city, the London Stock Exchange fell out of the world's top 5. American, Japanese, and Chinese markets took the lead. Even in innovation, while London keeps producing new billion-dollar startups, countries like the US, China, and India are way ahead. Yet British influence is still felt across the globe. Today, the Commonwealth of Nations, led by Britain's monarch, includes 52 countries, representing about 30% of the world's population. Many of these countries still speak English, showing Britain's lasting cultural impact. Meanwhile, back in England, things are evolving. By 2021, the national statistics showed that 37% of Londoners, so over a third, were born outside the UK. Even today's Prime Minister is of Indian heritage, a clear sign of Britain's changing face in the modern world. Thanks for watching. This is my first attempt at making videos, so I hope I didn't screw up. If you enjoyed the content, let me know. It'll inspire me to work twice as hard on the next one.